Dean, obviously a bit of a different story to start the week with the whole John Longmire and a lost SD card. Anything that we should know about that might have been said that we might not hear anymore?
Well, I don't know much about it. It's something that should stay where it is.
Obviously a great win against Port Adelaide on the weekend. What sort of impressed you most in that win? Was it just the complete manner in which you guys not only brought the pressure but then executed sort of around the ground and around the contest as well?
Yeah, for sure. I think first of all our ability to be able to put Port under pressure when they got the ball, and then the second part is win the ball back and then not allow them to get the ball back. I think it was one of the lower intercept games that opposition teams had. So, that speaks volumes about, first of all, us winning the ball back in certain areas of the ground, but even when we were caught deep in our back half, our ability to be able to win contests ahead of the ball, to not allow Port Adelaide some field position ascendancy.
Could we see a little bit more extra goal kicking practice today at T2?
Yeah, there's been a bit this week. And that's obviously was a disappointing thing to come out of the game, but on top of that, the ability to get a lot of our other metrics right. Certainly after Richmond and then a bye, to be able to practice some of that stuff, and to the guys' credit, they played a really good game of footy bar the finishing.
That win, Dean, Errol and Tom back. Is there a feeling around here that maybe a corner's been turned?
I think the players have a lot of confidence in. If we play the way we need to, we're good enough to match it against most teams, and we get a huge challenge Friday night, against one of the informed teams. So, that's about the players have confidence. They've still got belief in, what they can do is right and good enough, but we've got to put it to action now.
How do you stop Sam Darley? How do you stop him marking the ball at that point where few others can get to?
Get a step ladder. And that's what makes this game how great it is that all different shapes and sizes can play it, and Sam's been unbelievable for the Bulldogs. To what he does, to highest point, to whether it's contested, gets them on the lead, can do multiple things around the ground as well, and that's what makes him such a phenomenal talent.
So can he be stopped if the ball comes in clean, or is it all about the pressure up the ground?
I think certainly the pressure up the ground helps that, but also when they're caught in slow play, it's a really easy and it's a strong focal point for them to kick to. So, we need to make sure that we've got not only one player or matchups that are capable of trying to match him or restrict him as much as possible, but also we've got to have a team focus of where they get it, how they do it, and positions he can get to away from our defenders. So, yeah, we'll spend a fair bit of time. It's not only about Sam though; it's about the way they move, and obviously Aaron jumps at every ball that comes within 10 metres of his vicinity. So they're very dangerous ahead of the ball, hence their scoring power.
Speaking about the way they move, obviously there's been a lot of conversation this week about the taggers, and obviously your side uses the tagger when you make the discussions.
Yeah, I think one thing we've always tried to do is to restrict what the opposition strengths are. I think that's one thing you have to do as a football club, and we're fortunate we've got some players in our team, whether it be James Rowbottom to do it, or obviously James Jordan to do it in their own unique way. They understand, they spend a lot of time watching the opposition players, their tapes about how can I nullify their influence as much as possible, and it's a pleasure to have those guys, but also we'll see some pretty exciting matchups this week as well.
Obviously on Joel Lammani, as you said, there's lots of positives to take out of the game. Was it easy almost to sit down and go, yeah, look, the kicking was good, but to get 7 marks inside 50, to create those opportunities against a really impressive intercept defender and Asava, that there's so much to take from it that we know he can kick goals. It's just about finding that form and momentum again. Yeah,
and we were saying that throughout the game. The first part is to create opportunities and give them to yourself. And, Joel, we've had 3 players in the last 5 years take 7 marks inside 50. He's done it twice and Lance has done it once. So that's the first part of the puzzle that we have wanted to get right. And, to his credit, his ability to lead up at the ball, the blocking off the ball, the work for each other certainly allowed that. And then now it's about finishing off his work. And before that game, he was above 70% from set shots. So, people have days like that. It's about him trying to work on it throughout the week, which he's done, and hopefully rectify that tomorrow night.
Has Jake Lloyd done enough to come straight back in?
Oh, that's something we've got to look at. Between him and Ollie, Caden Cleary was really strong last week. So, there's a number of players that get a chance. Also, in having that in mind, the players that were playing last week performed their roles really well.
Obviously, this week there's been a bit of chat about Ollie potentially being someone who could be used by other clubs coming to look at him because he's a player in the VFL. But how much does he remain a part of your long-term plans with this team?
Oh, we wouldn't have signed Ollie on his contract last year if he wasn't a part of our long-term plans. So, players go through periods where they're in and out of form. And to Ollie's credit, he's gone back there with an amazing attitude and played the way we want him to play. So, certainly when an opportunity presents itself, he'll be ready.
Just another guy who's been really important all year, but particularly the last 6 weeks, has been Brody in his form in the ruck. He's created a lot of really good contests. He's getting across the ground and competing hard. I mean, how impressed have you been with maybe he didn't have the start to the year that he wanted individually and the fact that he's been able to bounce back?
Oh, he's been great for us through the last 6 or 7 weeks. The ascendancy he's given us around the contest, not only with his ruck stuff, his follow-up, but, now his work behind the ball, aerially he's improved dramatically, and, he's having a real say in the way we perform. So we expect he's up against Tim, who's another amazing ruck, and that should be a great battle. But, we're going with a lot of confidence of what Brody's done for the past month and a half.
Chad spoke on Tuesday about, during the bye week, really addressing the standards that had slipped both on field but also particularly off field. Can you shed a light on that a little bit more in terms of what was addressed in that bye week and the response that we've probably seen a little bit of already, but you want to see in the second half of the season?
Yeah, part of it is trying to maintain elite standards at all times, and we understand at times things can waver from that. So it's just about calling it out when it arises. It probably took a week or two too long. And I think the bye certainly gives you a chance to reset and look at the whole program and what's actually happening, what do we need to work on, and that's what we did. So, on top of that, whether, we understand you have to train at a certain level to play at a level, and the boys have improved in that area, which has been good.
His 100th game, was it used in any way to fire the team up?
We will mention it briefly, but we've got things to worry about collectively to get them right first. And he's had an unbelievable 100 games. If you talk about some of the impact he's had on games throughout those 100 have been at the highest level. And he's a player of enormous talent and does things that other people can't do on a football field. So, hopefully for the next couple of 100 he can showcase what he's done so far.
Jazzy McInerney's been another one who's brought a real intensity around the ball in contest in his running. I mean, obviously his suspensions have been talking about. You've spoken to him about that discipline. How pleased have you been with how he's bounced back? Yeah,
I've been really pleased. And I think obviously throughout that suspension period is an opportunity to really reflect on what he wants to do as a footballer, and to Justin's credit, he's been unbelievable in where he wants to get to, where he wants to help the group get to. We had an opportunity to play our leadership group for the first time last week all together. He has a big say in that, and he's performed really well and needs to have a big second half of the year.
Friday Night Lights back here at the SCG in prime time. The boys must be looking forward to that opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. I think to represent the footy club on a Friday night, and also obviously at the SCG is a pretty special feeling. So, against an outfit that is in very, very good form. Really excited by the challenge and testing ourselves against one of the best.